Let us begin our Wednesday Panchama Veda, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, with this sloka. Tabu kathamritam tapta jivanam kabi bhiriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatam bhubi grinyanti e bhurida jana. Friends, we were discussing on the 23rd in our last discussion in the last week, the Sri Ramakrishna clarifying the doubt from the mind of the devotees. Can God, who is all pervading, have the form? This is always the people that doubt about it, and you will find that many of the religions, they do not have any images. They think it is not possible. How God can be with the form? The Hinduism is having that. The Sanatana Dharma, they believe that God can be in form and without form too. But how it is possible? Sri Ramakrishna, he gave wonderful examples in different places to different people, and his answers were wonderful. Here he is telling, if you have the I consciousness, you have you consciousness too. As long as you are thinking that I am, so you are thinking the thou, the you also. So that is the way Sri Ramakrishna, in his own language, as long as a man is conscious of I and you, so long he feels that God is a person. As long as I consciousness exists, God reveals himself to us as a person. And there is no God cannot have the form. Why not? Because I want to see God in that form. So the God comes in that. Why I like to see? Because I can't imagine anything which is not having a name and a form. So I also think that God has a form and a name. Then what is the problem? So this is the way the Hindus also, they think that let me take this step. And then why should I have to fight and make it a division? The devotees who thinks that God has a form, they will never believe or listen to those who will say God is without form. Why? And those who are following the path of the knowledge, the God is without form, they are also not ready to listen to those who are following the path of the bhakti, devotion. God is with form. So if this is the thing Sri Ramakrishna is solving so unique way, very simple. If I have the I consciousness, and almost all of us, or everyone, we are having the I consciousness. As long as we have the I consciousness, we cannot say the God is formless. And if we say, our progress will be very slow, because we are actually not understanding which is the formlessness. Naturally, our progress will be very less, very slow. But when we accept it and withdraw our mind from all the objects and put that mind to only one object, that is God, the who is just in front of me in a different form, whatever form I like, I love, and my mind has been withdrawn from the sense objects, that is the main thing. Then I focus that on the God, the form, God or Goddess, and it becomes purified. Then Sri Ramakrishna in the last time that we read, the Divine Mother gives her devotee Brahma Jnana too. What is that Brahma Jnana? I, one only. The one is everything, that is Brahma Jnana. The consciousness is everything, that is Brahma Jnana. We cannot say what is Brahma Jnana, no one can explain. But at least in the conception we can say the consciousness everywhere, that is Brahma Jnana. So we have already discussed that, and again this is the topic comes back, and we have to remember it, we have to discuss it, we have to understand it, and it becomes very easy for us. Sri Ramakrishna, he is telling, when ego or I consciousness vanishes completely. So this is the point. I have to say I don't have any ego. But the funny thing is, the moment I say I don't have ego, the I is there. So when one can say that I don't have ego, you need not to say, I need not to say, it is automatic. When people won't be able to, those who have realized that Supreme Brahman, there will be no I consciousness at all. They will say everything is the same. So up to this. Then today we are going to read that Master Moshe recording the account of the Monday, October 20th, 1884. 2 days after the worship of Kali, the Marwaris of the Bagbajar section of Calcutta were celebrating Annakuta festival. Marwari, this is a group of people, mainly business community, and they are from Marwar. Marwar is a place in the northern part of India. So this Marwar people, they are very devoted people, but their main thing is business, economy. So almost all of them, they understand it, they can do it better, the rich people. But very, very devoted to God. They invited Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Annakuta. Literally, hill of Kuta. Kuta means is like a hill of food. During this festival, a vast quantity of cooked food is offered to the deity and later distributed among the devotees and the poor. In many places in India, they do. So that will be assembled in one place. Each and every one will cook something and they will give. And afterwards, so much, like a hill. Then afterwards, that will be distributed. You know that sometimes the Indians, the rice eater mainly, so the rice, they are making like a big hill, and from that they will be serving to each and every one. So that Annakuta, Sri Ramakrishna is going to the Marwaris. They are Hindi-speaking people. Sri Ramakrishna's mother tongue is Bengali. So he is from the eastern part of India. He was born in that Bengal. But he knew Hindi. That is very interesting. He knew Hindi. Where from he learned it? Mostly when he was very young, he used to go and serve the sadhus, wandering monks. And these monks, mainly from the Hindi-speaking people, they used to communicate in the Hindi, which is now our language, Indian language, Hindi. So this Hindi, he picked up from there, he learned it. So he was very intelligent. Sri Ramakrishna, though he didn't go to the schools to study, but he was so intelligent, whatever he heard, he remembered, and he could immediately learn it very quickly. So he learned Hindi from the wandering monks whom he used to serve when he was very young in the Kamarpukur. And he came to the Marwaris. It was the second day of the bright fortnight of the moon, the festival connected with the worship of Kali, known as the Festival of Light. Diwali, they say in that Indian term, Diwali. a Deepavali, in another word also they use, and that is the festival of light, was still going on in Bag Bazar. Bag Bazar is the area where mainly the business community they live. Even today, that is the place. No, sorry, this is called Bada Bazar, no, not Bag Bazar. This is called Bada Bazar, where still the people they live. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Aim and the younger Gopal came to Bada Bazar. Aim had in his hand a bundle of clothes he had purchased for Sri Ramakrishna. Malik Street was jammed with the people, bullock carts and the carriages. And that is the area still, if you go all the time, is so much of traffic, always, every time. So Malik Street. As Aim and Gopal approached 12 Malik Street, they noticed Sri Ramakrishna in a carriage, which could hardly move because of the jam. Baburam and Ram Chakrabarti were with the master. Sri Ramakrishna also noticed the Aim walking. He smiled at Aim and Gopal. So they were going to meet Sri Ramakrishna in that particular house where Sri Ramakrishna is going, and that was the system of Sri Ramakrishna, always to invite other devotees nearby to the place wherever he used to go, so that all devotees can mix. The Bengalis, the Hindi speaking people, they should, and Sri Ramakrishna used to go and sit, and then automatically they used to become the friends. So Sri Ramakrishna invited Master Mahasaya and other devotees. They were going, they saw. Sri Ramakrishna alighted from the carriage. With Baburam, he proceeded on foot to the house of his host, because the carriage could not move. Aim leading the way. They saw the courtyard of the house filled with big bales of clothes, which were being loaded into bullock carts for shipment. The businessmen. So in the courtyard, all those things were getting ready. So maybe the next day they will send it to. But see how Master Mahasaya, when he entering, he just turned his face and he saw, he noticed, and he recorded. So because of the historicity. Now about the Sri Ramachandra, about Sri Krishna, very less this type of thing. That's why mostly the poetical languages they used, and then we think that all this is imaginary. The Master Mahasaya was very conscious about it. The historical background, the historicity, it is only 100 years, 150 years we can say. But after 1,000 years, 500, 600 years, the things will be completely changed. The people may doubt. So that is the reason he is giving the date, time, place, and the people, and also the surroundings. So this is the way he is going on describing the courtyard and ready for shipment. The Marwari host greeted the master and led him to the third floor of the house. So we can understand Master Mahasaya was not very much known to these people. So he is not mentioning them by name. He is mentioning about the we can say the work that they do. Marwari means the business community, like that. If he knew the name, he could, and he didn't ask perhaps, because that was not the time maybe. So he never mentioned over here. A painting of Kali hung on the wall. Sri Ramakrishna bowed before it. He sat down and became engaged in conversation with the devotees. One of the Marwaris began to stroke his feet, That is also a very special. So if you go to those people, mainly the other people, they come and touch the feet of the holy man, and they offer pranam by that way, the respect by that way. But the Marwadi people, they come and they will be praising, because they think the Swami is coming, the walking. So if I just praise, give a little massaging, so he will feel good. So that has become a tradition he was doing. The Sri Ramakrishna asked him to stop. After reflecting a minute, he said, "All right, you can stroke them a little." Because Sri Ramakrishna never liked all these things. Usually, traditionally the monks will go, they will sit, the people, they come, they massage their feet, they sit very close to their feet, and many Swamis, they like it. But Sri Ramakrishna was completely different type. Sometimes he used to ask the very chosen devotee to do that type of personal work. Otherwise, the touch of people, it was very difficult for him. Those who have read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, they all know his words are full of compassion, because he asked him not to do that. And naturally, the gentleman may feel, "Oh, I am not that holy, so I can touch his feet." So he said, "Okay, you can do that." And with very compassionate way, he said, "Master," to him, "what about your school?" Because that was not it was Monday. So obviously, how Master Moshe could come, because that was the school time. He was the headmaster of the school. "Today is a holiday, sir." Master, smiling, "Tomorrow there will be a musical recital of the Chandi at Adhar's house." The Sri Ramakrishna always used to, that is called ministerial way, used to go to different people houses to attain that. And there will be the chanting of the Chandi and the songs, but along with that, little discussion about God. When we go and listen to the bhajans, that is good, but it's some type of the entertainment. Sri Ramakrishna was always conscious to give the enlightenment. If you listen to the good words, and that too, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he himself is telling, after his own realization, so naturally it goes deep down to the mind, and people's minds slowly become purified. The host sent a Pandit to Sri Ramakrishna. They understood that it is difficult to talk with Sri Ramakrishna, who will give the company, so they invited the Pandit, a Sanskrit scholar. So he came to give the company with Sri Ramakrishna, the holy man, and another person here. He saluted the master and took a seat. Soon they were engaged in conversation. They talked about spiritual things. Sri Ramakrishna, God incarnates himself for the bhakta and not for the jnani. Not for the jnani. Jnani means that those who are thinking that there is only Brahman, only one, there cannot be two. No question of God, no question of God's incarnation. So this is the point one should understand. Sri Ramakrishna was very clear. Those who have read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, you know that very, very important incident that happened when Sri Ramakrishna's beloved disciple Swami Vivekananda, at that time only Narendranath, he was watching Sri Ramakrishna lying down. It was almost the last day he is going to pass away. Then he was thinking, that time, that young boy, he was thinking, oh, now if he can say that he is God, I will accept him. We know that in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, when the Narendranath came, there's so many ways he tested his guru. But even then, with great patience, Sri Ramakrishna was teaching him. And this was the last week, I think, that Sri Ramakrishna was lying down in the Kashipur, the garden, and Narendranath was standing near the door, And from there he was thinking. The moment he thought, the thought crossed Narendranath's mind. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna replied. Narendranath didn't utter, just thought. Sri Ramakrishna immediately replied, one who was Rama, one who was Krishna, now in this form. Of course, not from the point of view of jnana. Why the jnani, that is very clear, the jnana, the Vedanta, ultimate Vedanta, there no conception of two. So conception of God, conception of the avatara, incarnation of God cannot be there. So at that moment also he very clearly mentioned. Here he is mentioning too that the Pandit, God incarnates himself for the bhakta. Bhakta means those who are practicing the duality. God is there, I am here, I am the son of God, I am the servant of God, like that, the dual form, and not for the jnani. Then this Pandit, the Sanskrit scholar, he is quoting from Bhagavad Gita, the 4th chapter, 8th verse, Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata. That is very famous sloka, and he is quoting that. I incarnate myself in every age for the protection of the good, for the destruction of the wicked, and for the establishment of dharma. Again and again I come, the God is telling. It is the famous, the promise of God in the Bhagavad Gita. The God becomes man first for the joy of the bhakta, and secondly for the destructions of the wicked. The jnani has no desire. This Pandit, this Sanskrit scholar, his mind is also very clear about it. Majority of the people, they study the scripture and they use that knowledge for earning. That they go, they do some puja in the rich devotees' family and the houses and earn some money. Their thoughts are not so clear. This Pandit Ramakrishna will appreciate. So as we are giving that talk, you have substance in you. Sri Ramakrishna said that to this Pandit. When he said that, the Sri Ramakrishna master smiling, he was happy. But I have not got rid of all desires. I have the desire for love of God. As he commented, jnani has no desire. Then Sri Ramakrishna laughing, that I have the desire for the love of God. But this is no desire though. For the love of God, that is not desire. But Sri Ramakrishna is making a fun and he is telling that I have the desire. Then the Pandit's son entered the room. He saluted the master and took a seat. Master to the Pandit, well, what is a bhakta and what is bhakti? Then the Pandit is telling, meditation on God mellowed the mind. What is a bhakta and what is bhakti? Sri Ramakrishna wanted to listen from that person, because that man, it seems that he was a spiritual teacher of the community, Marwadi group. The Sri Ramakrishna wanted to know what type of knowledge he himself is having. But he was giving correct answers and Sri Ramakrishna was happy. Meditation on God mellows the mind, and mellowness is called bhava. It is like the thawing of ice when the sun rises. So he gave that example. Sri Ramakrishna asking, and what is prema? The bhakti, he gave that in that way because of the meditation. What is meditation? Withdrawing the mind or the senses from all the five sense objects. We all know, again and again we discuss that, and we give that mind to the God. So that slowly it is becoming, transforming into God, because only one thought. Sri Ramakrishna is asking, what is prema? The bhava and the prema. And what is that prema? The Pandit and Sri Ramakrishna were talking in Hindi. The former gave some sort of explanation of prema. Master to the Pandit, no, that is not the meaning. So this is called the teacher. No, he is not showing his knowledge, or he is not egoistic. He is just like a father, compassionate father. He is rectifying the person. Sri Ramakrishna never knew this Sanskrit scholar. But when he gave the answer about the prema, all other answers he was happy. This answer was not correct. So Sri Ramakrishna thought that it should be rectified. So he said, no, that is not the meaning. Prema means such a love for God that it makes a man forget the world and also his body, which is so dear to him. That is called prema. In another word we can say samadhi. This samadhi and prema bhakti, the devotion, and that devotion, that love takes the mind in such a higher level where the person who is having that devotion forgets his own consciousness. What is the goal of spiritual life again and again? Just to forget this body consciousness. And when I don't have the I consciousness, I forget the body consciousness. And when I forget the I and the body, so obviously all around things are also forgotten. But sometimes some people, when they are in a very peculiar mood, maybe they are insane, maybe they are mad, they may think in that way. But no. After smoking or something and taking the narcotics and all, maybe sometimes people feel like that. It is not that. It is the consciousness. It goes back to the consciousness. And this jada, this inert, this body, which is associated with the ego, the I, that all vanishes. That goes back to consciousness through love. Love for God. It is called prema. And Sri Ramakrishna is telling, Chaitanya Deva had prema. Why he said that? Because it is not so simple. It is not ordinary. And all people cannot have. This is the almost ultimate thing of the devotion. Pandit, yes sir, one behaves like a drunkard. Master, some people develop bhakti and others do not. How do you explain that, sir? Sri Ramakrishna is asking that question to Pandit. So Sri Ramakrishna himself knew. In other places, people they asked to Sri Ramakrishna. But here, the Marwadis, their devotion is little different. So Sri Ramakrishna is talking with the Pandit. As because the Pandit is their spiritual guide, he is measuring the depth of his knowledge and clarifying that. Pandit, there is no partiality in God. He is the wish-fulfilling tree. Whatever a man asks of God, he gets. But he must go near the tree to ask the boon. The Pandit said all this in Hindustani. Hindustani, in short, Hindi. The master explained it to him in Bengali. I was so happy reading it. The master means Sri Ramakrishna, and he was explaining it to him, who was a headmaster of a school, but he was not knowing the Hindi. The Bengalis in the southern part of the India, they they were not very much acquainted with the Hindi. At that time, even today, if you go to the southern India, it is very difficult. But in Bengal also, in the villages, people don't know. Because of the movies and the Hindi cinemas, now some of the words have become common, majority of the people, but the conversation in Hindi or the lecture in Hindi is very difficult. At that time, Sri Ramakrishna knew Hindi, and when he saw the Master Mahashaya, the aim, is sitting near, and the conversation is going on in Hindi, and naturally he was trying to understand what is going on, and he was interested because he wanted to note it down. Sri Ramakrishna explained him in Bengali. Sir, please describe Samadhi to us. The master is asking to that Pandit. The Pandit, there are two kinds of Samadhi, Swavikalpa and Nirvikalpa. In the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the functioning of the mind stops altogether. The Samadhi are Swavikalpa, with an object, Sa with Vikalpa, an object, Swavikalpa. Ni, negative, no, Vikalpa, no object. So naturally we can understand when we have an object, maybe a sun, maybe a moon, maybe a candlelight, maybe Omkara, maybe cross, maybe something, some object. It's become so easy for us because that is the name, that is the form, and we are accustomed to know about that, so our mind can easily go. Then those who have taken the initiation all love the God or different forms of God. They place that God or goddess within their heart and concentrate on that. So that is possible. That is called Swavikalpa Samadhi. Samadhi means completely forgetting the external world and only remaining in that one thought. And think about the Nirvikalpa, where there is no object, only consciousness. One merges into that consciousness. That is really difficult. A handful of people can do that and reach that. The master, yes, mind completely takes the form of reality. R capital, this reality means the truth. That is the Brahman, that is the consciousness. The distinction between the meditator and the object of meditation does not exist. There are two other kinds of Samadhi, Chetana Samadhi and Jada Samadhi. Narada and Sukadeva attained Chetana Samadhi. Isn't it true, sir? So this is the beautiful way he is actually giving the educating the Pandit. He knows the scripture, so he told, and we almost all those who have studied the scripture, particularly Yoga Shastras, they know that there are two types of Samadhi, Swavikalpa, Nirvikalpa. The full concentration with an object and without object, Nirvikalpa. Sri Ramakrishna, he is adding, one is Chetana Samadhi and Jada Samadhi. What is Chetana Samadhi? That is called the Jivan Mukta condition. All the time, every moment, he sees the same one thing in everything. And who are those he named? Narada and Shukadeva. Narada from the point of view of the devotion, and Sukadeva were pure Gyani. Those who they don't know that Indian that philosophy and also the mythologies, the Puranas, they have heard the name of Narada, the famous devotee of Lord Vishnu, and also Shukadeva, the son of the Vyasa. He was the pure knowledge. But both of them were having Chetana Samadhi. Chetana means conscious. They were not sitting in one place. They didn't close their eyes to meditate, to withdraw their senses. No. They are going around. They are mixing with people, talking with people. They were in every event. But at the same time, all the time, every moment, their mind was focused on only one thing. That is the consciousness of the Lord Vishnu. Narada, his mind was completely and every moment Lord Vishnu. He couldn't say anything else but Lord Vishnu. And the Vishnu in different form. And Shukadeva, the consciousness, the Chaitanya in everything. So this is a new thing that Sri Ramakrishna is introducing, the Jada Samadhi and Chaitanya Samadhi. And Narada and the Sukadeva attained Chaitanya Samadhi. Isn't that true, sir? Yes, sir, that is so, Pandit said. Then the master. Further, there are Unmana Samadhi and Sthita Samadhi. Isn't that true, sir? Sri Ramakrishna is not explaining. Jada, we know, Jada means like the stone, inert. Sri Ramakrishna had that, Jada Samadhi. When he used to meditate, Swami Vivekananda, he was that young man, he went to Dakshineshwar with another person, and he was meditating under the banyan tree. Thousands of mosquitoes covered the whole body of that in summertime, and that there were mosquitoes are there. Whole body was covered with thousands of mosquitoes. The Girish Chandra Ghosh was accompanying the Narendranath. When he turned and see the young Naren, and he was a fair complex, but he became black. What happened? The whole mosquito all over the body. But the Naren was not having any consciousness. That is called Jada Samadhi, just like the stone he was sitting. Sri Ramakrishna also had different, that type of. Then Chaitanya Samadhi also, both of them. Here is Unmana Samadhi and Sthita Samadhi. When we are thinking something very deeply, we go into that trance, that meditation. When we are looking, our eyes are open but we don't see because mind is absent. We are hearing but we are not listening at all because the mind is completely absent. So that is the way Unmana. This many times they said that this Unmana Samadhi, our Radha, Sri Radha, she used to have that. She is doing some work but she used to forget. The whole mind has gone to Krishna. So that is called Unmana Samadhi and Sthita Samadhi also. Now this Pandit remained silent. He did not venture an opinion because he was not knowing about so many different ways. Master will said, through the practice of japa and austerity, one can get occult powers, such as walking on the water of the Ganges. Isn't that true? Pandit, yes, one can, but a devotee don't want them. This answer made Sri Ramakrishna very happy. Majority of the people, they go for this type of power and they lose all their energy into that. Because the moment you are having those type of occult power, so all these worldly people, they will come and they will try to get that. So obviously you won't have the time, and they will be praising you, they will be giving you the gifts, and slowly ego will enter into the mind. You are deviated from that. So this is the way they say. Sri Ramakrishna was very happy. Yes, one can, but a devotee doesn't want them. The conversation continued for some time. The Pandit said he would visit the master at Dakshineshwar the next Ekadashi day. The Sri Master, your boy is very nice. Well, revered sir, all this is temporary. It is like the waves in a river. One goes down, another comes up. And he said it genuinely. The son, the daughter, the family, it goes in that way so many times. The people are having the families and all. Just today, one lady rang me. She wanted to get the clarification of one of the words that Sri Ramakrishna said, but I couldn't, because I was not having time. I couldn't explain. The Sri Ramakrishna said that some people, they complain why God is so ruthless. So many people are dying, children are dying, and so many things are happening all over the world. But if the God is all powerful, can't you stop it? Sri Ramakrishna gave the answer. It is like magicians. He is showing so many things, but he is not affected by that. Why? Because he knows it is all magic, very temporary thing, nothing in reality happening. I saw one magic, is a great magician. He asked a girl to lie on a table. Then he brought the saw and was cutting her into two halves. Each and every one of us who were there observing that, we were all shouting, "What is this?" Next moment, the girl came out and waved her hand. Nothing was there. But we saw that the magician is cutting her into two. This is called magic. The whole thing that is all over the world is happening. Birth, death, decay, suffering, joy. For the Jnani, this is nothing but the magic. But because we are involved into it, we don't like to believe it. So this is called spirituality. But when the Pandit, he said about the sun, most of the time the people, if you ask about the sun, they will go on talking. You don't know, sir, my son is so bright, he did this, he did that, he will. But the Pandit here, he said, no, it is just like the wave. He came in my form, again it will go down like this. Then Sri Ramakrishna commented, you have substance in you. What is this substance? Why he mentioned like that? Reading many people can do, and they do. Almost all the universities in the world, they are reading the philosophy. And in a very unique way, they are studying the philosophy. And so many varieties of philosophies they are studying, analyzing, writing books, or submitting papers. But if you go and look at their life, daily life, nothing is reflected. And many of the so-called spiritual teachers, spiritual people, they say so many things, but in their lives, nothing is reflected. The devotees, the great devotees, they are associated with the organization, with a religious person, they go, they donate. But if you talk to them when anything happens, immediately that great ego, I donate so much of money, why should I not get this benefit from the ashram? Who are these people to ask me to and stop me? You donate, that is the blessing that the God is accepting your money. No. After donation and giving the service in the spiritual society, religious society, what benefit you are supposed to get? Less ego, isn't it? What else? But if the devotees, are they asking themselves, am I really getting benefit out of it? No. I don't like this, I don't have this, this is what, all this. Why you are going to the ashrama? Why you are serving the ashrama? Why you are donating your money? If in exchange you are not developing your spiritual life. And what is spiritual life? Why we are giving every week, we are reading the gospel? Why? To understand this truth, friends. This is the only, not that you will just see or listen to my talks and then you will write to me, oh, it is very good talk, and I will go and check my 2,000 people listening to me, 14,000 people listening. No, not like that. Not like that. Remember it, please. And I am telling it to myself also. The only thing, only purpose, as Sri Ramakrishna, I marked it with the red, the ink. You have substance in you. That substance we have to grow. What is the substance? Understanding of the scripture. Understanding of the spiritual life very clearly. And that is nothing but egolessness. After providing service, after giving donation, after taking initiation, after coming and meditating in the shrine, am I listening my ego? Can I feel it's okay? Everything is temporary, so why unnecessarily I will behave like this? This is the question. So when he said, the master, he said to that Pandit, the Sanskrit scholar, you have substance in you, is a great certificate. Great certificate. After a few minutes, the Pandit saluted Sri Ramakrishna. He said, I shall have to perform my daily devotions. Please let me go. Master, oh, sit down. Why? Because he was going to pray to God and he was sitting just in front of God. He was talking with God. So Sri Ramakrishna wanted to give him that blessings. Sometimes we don't understand. Many people, they think the Sri Ramakrishna was a great sadhaka, he was a holy person, but how can he be God? If you ask why? Because the God means he is lifting the hill or walking on the water and having these and that. Wrong conception, isn't it? The God means unselfishness and love and nothing else. Pure unselfishness. See, Sri Ramakrishna, the God himself, he wants to bless this person who has studied the scripture and understood it properly, practiced it also through meditation and other spiritual practices. The God is so pleased. In the 12th chapter, in the Sri Krishna, from the 13th verse, what he says, if you are having these qualities, I love you. My all blessings are with you. God's love means that. Qualities. So that is the God. Anyway, this person, he was sincere, Brahmin. So it is evening time, I should go to the prayer. Sri Ramakrishna said, no, sit down. The Pandit sat down again. The conversation turned to Hatha Yoga. If you have read the Gospel before or the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, many a time Sri Ramakrishna said to many devotees, go and practice meditation in that temple. In the Dakshineshwar, he told those people. But when God is pleased with someone, then he is revealing himself before him. You are going to meditate on whom? God. And here, I, the God, just before you. Pandit, he was not adamant. Immediately he sat down, he got the blessings. Pandit is telling. The conversation turned to Hatha Yoga. The Pandit discussed the subject with the master in Hindustani. Sri Ramakrishna said, yes, that is also a form of austerity. But the Hatha Yogi identifies himself with his body. His mind dwells on his body alone. The Pandit took leave of the master. Sri Ramakrishna conversed with the Pandit's son. Master, one can understand the Bhagavata well if one has already studied the Nyaya and Vedanta and the other systems of philosophy. Isn't that so? Pandit's son, yes sir, it is very necessary to study the Samkhya philosophy. See, the one is related with other. The Bhagavata is a Purana. In that Purana, we have already started, we have completed the Bhagavata study. I didn't go through all the stories that is there, but mainly the philosophy and the conversation between the Uddhava and the Krishna that we ended, the Uddhava Gita, the last message of Sri Krishna. All knowledge, knowledge and knowledge. Unless and until the Nyaya means very clear understanding of this reality and the non-reality. The world and the God are the supreme. And the Samkhya philosophy also, it gives how the creation came, etc. So the Bhagavata, that through that Sri Krishna is a unique way he explained. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling. The conversation went on. Sri Ramakrishna was leaning against a big pillow. The devotees were sitting on the floor. Lying in that position, the master began to sing. Brother, joyfully cling to God. Thus striving, someday you may attain Him. So through the song, he was giving the advice. What is that advice? Cling to God. All around the people sitting over there, they're the Marwadis, the Hindi-speaking people, they were very busy in the business, and their mainly all attention goes to earn money, the profit, by purchasing, by selling, that all those things. And along with that, when a holy person has come, what he should do? First, he saw the people, they go to the Pandit to get the spiritual support. Where the Pandit himself is having the clarity. Sri Ramakrishna was satisfied and gave a very big certificate. You have substance in you. Then he talked with the son, the Pandit's son. Yes, he was also having the good idea. Then finally, Sri Ramakrishna is singing, Brother, joyfully cling to God. Thus striving, someday you may attain Him. Someday you may attain Him. Their host entered the room and saluted Sri Ramakrishna. He was a pious man and devoted to the master. Pandit's son was still there. The master asked if the Panini, the Sanskrit grammar, was taught in the schools. He further asked about the Nyaya and the Vedanta philosophies. The host did not show much interest in the discussion and changed the subject, because the son was a student of Sanskrit. And Panini is very, very difficult in Sanskrit grammar. But those who are in-depth study, if they like to do, the grammar is very much necessary. How the words are changing, that is all there. And he was telling about the Nyaya and the Vedanta. But the host was a businessman, he never knew. So he changed the thing. Host, revered sir, what is the way for us? Very simple question. What is the way for us? Master gave, look at it. Just now he was talking with that young boy, the Pandit's son, about the Nyaya, about the Vedanta. And when this gentleman asked, immediately he gave the reply, chanting the name and glories of God. Not only name, glories. Chanting the name and glories of God. Living in the company of holy men and earnestly praying to God. So this is usually in the beginning of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he said the four. First is the same, chanting you have to, first he said, you have to have the holy company. Then you should live in a secluded place to understand your mind, to ponder over the teachings that you have learned. And then thirdly, you should discriminate what is good and what is wrong, what is permanent and what is temporary, and then pray. These are the four. Here he is telling, chanting the name and glories of God, and second, living in the company of holy men, and thirdly, earnestly praying to God. Friends, this is a very common question, and in this pandemic situation, tomorrow a group of people from India, northeastern side, they want to talk to me, and I gave the topic, remain happy, bhalo theko, and how one can. So this is the answer. We have to understand that God is everything, and if that is so, if one going on chanting the name of God and thinking all the good qualities of the God, and slowly his mind will also imbibe those good qualities. Living in the company, holy company, means reading holy books, and also discussion among the friends, same-minded people, if they are discussing. And now I observe they are exchanging beautiful quote. They are quoting and then giving to different type of groups. That is a very good thing that they are doing each and every day. One person is there, he'll be constantly sending Ma Sharada's picture from Belur Math beautifully. So many people, hundreds of them, they will see to that. So this is the way they are utilizing this situation, and then earnestly praying to God. Again and again Sri Ramakrishna is telling that if you pray to God, the God will surely listen. But you have to pray in such a way that God should listen. How? Faith, complete faith and dependence on God. That is the way one should pray. Then the host, please bless me, sir, that I may pay less and less attention to worldly things. These are all just he is telling. Sri Ramakrishna is smiling and he is making a fun. How much attention do you give to the world? 50%? All are laughing. Because a businessman, and he gives the full attention, but he is asking like that. You know that, sir, we cannot achieve anything without the grace of the holy person like yourself. So this is the main thing. Always, majority of the people, they go to the temple, go to the holy people for their own personal benefit, not the spiritual development. If you please God, everyone will be pleased. It is God alone that exists in the heart of the holy man. So we go to different holy man, but it is God that is living in the heart of the holy man. Most of us, we don't know. If the person is supporting your views and whatever whims you are having, if he is maintaining that or supporting that, then you consider this man is a holy man and I like. That is your ego only. But the real holy person, you have to understand that the holy person only, he loves God, and God is unselfishness and God is love. To judge in that way and judge every moment whether we are reducing our ego or not. So today, up to this, if there is some questions, we will answer and then conclude.
So there is one question, Maharaj. Tuhin Kana. Pranam Maharaj, what is the difference between Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Unmana Samadhi?
Unmana is just forgetting your present situation and thinking about God. The Unmana. And the Bengali word is also there. Completely going to that particular thought, that is called Unmana Samadhi. And Nirvikalpa Samadhi means there is no object, only consciousness, and merging into that. It is the consciousness, it is the light you can imagine. All over the whole universe is light. There is nothing except that light, and the person who is meditating is also merging into that to some extent. So that is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Unmana Samadhi, sometimes even the scientists also, they get this type of Samadhi. They are thinking and they forget whether they have taken food or not. All the stories are there. It's called Unmana Samadhi.
The next question is from Srima Vishwas. How we recognize holy man?
Recognize holy man only through these two qualities, that he or she is completely free from jealousy, that he and she is completely free from ego. If you are going to that person, don't come to me, it's an ego. But that person is full with love and unselfishness. All his or her action is based on love, and that love without any boundary. Oh, these people are of my religion, of my caste, or my countrymen. No, nothing like that. Each and everyone, whoever goes, their love goes and embraces. So to understand a holy person, these two qualities must be present into them, love and unselfishness. Oh, thank you, friends, and let us conclude. Before that, once again I like to show you the other day, it was this our Chicago calling that is in, it was published 27th September. So this I am once again showing you. So this is available online. You can go and study. It is mainly on Nirjan Vas. If you go to a solitude, what are the benefits one can get? So these everything, the editorial is there, and some of the talks that has been transcriptions of there. But I must say that one of our very young, the Brahmacharini, she researched and on the American movements of the Vedanta Society. That is a beautiful article. You will be benefited by reading that. You will understand the American work, Vedanta Society or Ramakrishna Mission work in America much better way. Thank you very much. Now let us conclude with this sloka by offering our pranam to the Master. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshavidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.